Folks, as we all know, the most victimized human in all of America is a princess named Meghan Markle. Now, Meghan Markle, she is the most victimized person who's ever been victimized, according to a victim named Meghan Markle, who's a princess. And the media seem to go along with this because, I mean, I don't know why they go along with this, other than I guess they want to attack the British royal family.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
But Meghan Markle just did a profile with The Cut that is, I think, the most self-aggrandizing, faux humble profile I've ever seen by a major public figure. It really is an impressive show from Meghan Markle.
Are you serious?
So just to get this straight, she was a failed actress on Suits who married into the royal family and then bitched and moaned about it for several years, claiming everyone was being viciously racist to her, then absconded to California, where she's still living off the royal family's money in a $15 million home while doing a podcast that people are only listening to because they want to watch the car accident on the freeway.
What do you mean by that?
And people are like, wow, she dethroned Joe Rogan as the biggest podcast. No. Okay. If I drive past a flaming wreck on the side of the freeway, I also will look at that.
You got me.
For a day. If that flaming wreck continues, eventually it's going to burn out and it's not that interesting to look at anymore. So this profile at The Cut is just astonishing. Maureen Callahan over at the New York Post has a really good synopsis of it. It is impressive how much Meghan Markle loves Meghan Markle.
That doesn't make sense.
So she is so self-absorbed. There are a few statements in this that are just astonishing. So there's one point in this profile where Meghan Markle literally compares herself to Nelson Mandela because, as you know, living in apartheid South Africa and being jailed for your political convictions.
What the hell?
And then coming out of jail and refusing to engage in racial warfare, exactly the same as marrying into the royal family and then aggrandizing yourself as the rebel American fighting racism in Britain. Exactly the same thing. Quote, I had just had Archie. It was such a cruel chapter. I was scared to go out. Scared to go out? Can you show me? She keeps saying that people were like yelling at her for having a baby.
So that was a f***ing lie.
Where is where? Who? Like some evidence would be appropriate at this point. But she did go out. She went to a performance of The Lion King, which is what I do. When I'm scared to go out, I go to a crowded theater performance in the East End. That's what I do.
Good job.
How about you? That's what I do. Afterward, a South African cast member, she said, quote, looked at me, and he's just like light. He said, I just need you to know, when you married into this family, we rejoiced in the streets the same way we did when Mandela was freed from prison. That is the best anecdote ever that never happened. And that man was Albert Einstein. I love that so much. As Maureen Callahan points out, anyone who's read Tom Bower's recent book knows Meghan is an inveterate liar. But here we have the Duchess in her natural habitat, a soulless mansion. Meghan, quote, backlit by the late morning light in a scene that looks like a Nancy Meyers cinematic interior. Town and Country, Goop, and Architectural Digest had an orgy. So apparently, we begin with the invisible help lighting a scented candle from the members-only Soho house. The founder, Meghan, says a friend. Annual dues run a little over $4,000. But remember, even though she wants to be known as a humanitarian, a feminist, and a renegade, what are equally important are all the famous people she knows and the exclusive, rich people only places she has access to.
We do not care.
She opened the interview by saying, quote, do you want to know a secret? I'm getting back on Instagram. Wow. The writer, who apparently is in the pay of Meghan Markle. That's the only way to explain this particular interview. Her name is Allison Davis. She says, at one point in our conversation, this is an amazing thing. Self-absorbed celebrities are just the best kind. At one point in our conversation, quote, instead of answering a question, she will suggest how I might transcribe the noises she's making, quote.
That doesn't make sense.
She's making these guttural sounds, and I can't quite articulate what it is she's feeling in that moment because she has no word for it. She's just moaning. That's amazing. So Meghan Markle is making weird sounds out of her face hole. And she then does a running commentary to the person writing about her, about how that writer should write about the weird noises coming from Meghan Markle's face hole. That's amazing. It's so good. But the entire article is about how Meghan is finally taking control of her own story. She's taking control of her narrative of her truth. Meghan says, quote, when the media has shaped the story around you, it's really nice to be able to tell your own story. Yes, that's been the problem, is that she's never been allowed to talk before, except when she lied routinely to Oprah.
Yeah, right.
Remember that time she said that there was somebody in the royal household who said that they were concerned that her babies might be dark? And she still has not revealed who exactly that person is. Meanwhile, every photo of Harry looks like he's in a hostage video at this point.
Damn!
It really does. Like, blink twice if you want us to free you, Harry. She says, quote, one of the first things my husband saw when we walked around the house was these two palm trees. I love when super wealthy people walk around and talk about the deeper meaning of their giant houses. Now, listen, I love giant houses. Thank God I have a really nice house.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
But you know what I don't do? Run around talking about the deeper spiritual meaning of my house to interviewers, because that's ridiculous. You know I like my house? Because it's awesome. Because I got all my stuff in it.
That doesn't make sense.
And I'm building a library. That's why. But you know what I don't do? I don't do this. This is words you will never hear from people like me. Quote, one of the first things my husband saw when we walked around the house was these two palm trees. See how they're connected at the bottom? He says, he being Harry, quote, my love, it's us. And now every day when Archie, their son, goes by the trees, he says, hi, Mama. Hi, Papa. File that under things. And Archie is 3 years old, by the way. Also, she says that Meghan likes to teach her son that salt and pepper are always passed together. She's big on manners, is Meghan Markle.
Boring.
At no point in this interview was she asked any tough questions, of course, because that would defeat the point of the actual interview. This is so good. Left to her own devices, Meghan returns to her default mode, perseverating over the Queen's refusal to give her and Harry everything they wanted, namely to monetize their royal status while owing nothing in public service. That, for whatever reason, Meghan's not saying race, but she kind of is not something we were allowed to do.
You serious?
Even though several other members of the family do this exact thing. Why do you think that is? Davis asked, why do you think that is? Meghan, she said, the answer is racism. Davis presses for an answer, and Meghan shifts into soap opera mode. Quote, I don't know, she says, casting a knowing gaze out into the middle distance. Everybody is a racist. Also, she is receiving, I kid you not, a $25 million deal with Spotify and a $100 million deal from Netflix.
Are you sure about that?
To be a self-important celebrity who is only famous, really, because she married into a royal family that she now disparages as having ruined her life. But now she's speaking her truth, guys. Her truth.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Whew, is she insufferable? Probably we should make her president. That's always the next step here. So I assume that's the next step for Meghan Markle, is running for political office. They've already talked about this, by the way. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Really, nigga?
Who's got two thumbs and wants you to like and subscribe?
And what do you think this says about his marriage to Meghan?
Good question.
He said something once, his own words. He said, I never knew how unhappy I was until she told me.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Until she told me. So at that, when he said that, I thought, seems like coaching. You know, how long can a man go on and be happy, always being coached, always being defined by her words, by what she said, seemingly. And I kind of thought, wow, this is telegraphing. He's being emasculated. She's defining him. She's telling him whether or not he's happy and what that looks like. So I had a feeling this would happen, but what I didn't think was going to happen would be that he would disparage everybody in his family along the way and then expect to reach back.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
I mean, because families, I think, want to be unconditionally forgiving. You love family members. Like, they can step on your head with cleats and you will always love them and welcome them back.
Fact.
But we're not talking about the bell curve, and we're not talking about an isolated incident. We're talking about years of repeated infractions, insults, disparagement, hurt, lies, abandonment.
Well, duh.
So that is a lot for, in my opinion, King Charles or any of the royals to welcome back into the fold. And granted, it might happen. That's up to them because families do that. But in my opinion, there will always be that little question mark, that little, is he wearing a Netflix wire?
What do you mean by that?
That little, is he lying to us? That little, is he getting more information to put in another book? Is this going to turn into something defamatory and disparaging when he does not get his way? So I can't help but believe that the royal family will always have that question mark. So my suggestion would be a couple of years of counseling, a pattern of proven loyalty and reliabilities to rebuild that trust.
Okay.
And maybe it can happen, but in his mind, it seems like he wants just to jump back into being in the fold and be Prince Harry, Prince of Great Britain, one of the hottest men in the world. Somebody called him one of the most eligible bachelors.
Gay.
Not going to happen that way. So if he's willing to be realistic and do the work, then he'll probably be okay after several years. But as far as his marriage to her goes, at this point, sometimes I just say, oh, who really cares?
What the fuck?
I kind of think this was doomed from the beginning. And as Prince William reportedly told Harry, haste makes waste, get to know her better, don't jump into this. And hindsight is 2020. I think he's probably wanting to say to his brother, oh my God, you were so bloody right. I can't believe this.
Women.
And it happened. It unfolded the way people predicted it, the way Prince William seemingly thought it would. And that's sad because
you too. Yeah. Because that's what's so fascinating. Meghan had her sister saying this isn't going to work. Harry had his brother saying this isn't going to work. And unfortunately, Harry was completely drunk on love.
Really, nigga?
And he took leave of all of his senses. But there's a lot that he cannot erase, Sam. And this is the issue that I have. He cannot erase the things he said about Prince William.
Fact.
Especially in Spare. He cannot erase the things he said about Queen Camilla and his father, especially in Spare. He cannot erase the impression that he put out to the world that Catherine, the Princess of Wales, is some sort of bitch.
What the hell?
Which we all know is completely ludicrous. We know who the bitch is. But unfortunately, Sam, he can't just reverse all of that stuff.
Exactly. And I don't think, you can love someone, you can forgive them, you can welcome them back. But, again, we're not talking about something under the bell curve. We're talking about a statistical outlier.
Okay.
Extreme continued damage, insults, hurt. And, it's like having a hole in your chest. And when the hole goes out the back bigger than it went in, figuratively, how do you heal that?
I don't know.
How do you feel that love again, where the trust has been so trashed? I mean, to have real love, family, friends, or relationships, by God, you have to have trust. Because if you don't, those touchy-feely moments, those goo-goo eyes, that passion will never be the same.
Yes, exactly.
And so it will feel like an act, I think, for all of them for quite some time. And that's pretty sad.
So let me just go to the original story, Sam, because I want to talk about the Daily Mail's involvement in all of this too in just a moment. But for folk who may not have read the original exclusive, It said, sources said the Duke of Sussex is consulting people from his old life as a working royal after allegedly growing dissatisfied with advice from American-based image experts. The overtures signal the first stage in a strategy to rehabilitate Harry that would involve him spending more time in the UK to repair his relationship with his father and potentially initiate a partial return to the royal fold. Sources stress that Harry and Meghan, who have spent the past 4 years living in self-imposed exile in California, are not seeking a permanent return.
Why? Why?
But this newspaper can also reveal that the couple have parted company with yet another American PR advisor, Christine Wales-Shermer, joined the Sussexes in 2020 as head of communications but left quietly last year. So she is the 10th staff member to have left the couple in 3 years.
Are you sure about that?
So it certainly feels like they have reached rock bottom, Sam. This feels like desperation.